rubbish out, immediately that brings the quality of your stud up. Right? And that's why I've never wanted to breed recessive colours, because you have all these splits and that brings the quality of your flights down. I don't see anything wrong if people want to do that, but I've never wanted to do it. Right? I've always thought if you need a big enough shed that if you're breeding all these different splits, you keep them in a separate flight. So no one can say, you know, a load of rubbish in that flight. Well, they're all splits, they're all bits and pieces that I'm working with. So anything that can't breed and you can't show it, right, you need to dispatch it. And I've got into so much trouble saying things like that, right? But it's true, because competition for space on the perches is one of the most stressful things you can do to budgies, or any type of bird, right? It is an absolute stressor. Too many birds in a given space. So you need to keep them down to the minimum. And that on the right hand side is stainless steel dishes. That's what I put every night into my breeding cages. That is changed every single day, and then they're washed up every day and fresh for the next day. And it's not because and this is Marcel's food containers. It doesn't, that's his soft food container. It doesn't matter whether you've got stainless steel like me. It doesn't matter. You can buy flower pot containers. Daniel Lutoff, the best breeder in the world, has his seed in flower pot containers. You know, the water container. Is it the water bit at the bottom anyway? And there's nothing wrong with them. They're as cheap as chips. They're 50 pence each, right? But it's plastic, and you can wash plastic. The amount of times I've been in people's bird rooms, they're using those old Fray Bentos steel, you know, steak kidney pie pots. Fantastic. They were, in their day, years and years ago, perfectly acceptable. They're not acceptable today. Why? Because you can't wash them. You can't wash them, right? So what I'm trying to say to you is, and I'm not trying to be patronising, right? These things are relatively cheap to buy. So if you're using soft food, and soft food is damp. Anything that is damp on a hot day is going to make bacteria. So what I'd say to you is, if you're going to feed that to your birds, and it's going to be a really hot day, don't feed it first thing in the morning, or feed them a little tiny bit in the morning, and feed it 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night when it's cooled off, because that will go off. And so if you can't do that, don't feed them soft food that day. Give them a millet spray, and then give that later on in the evening. These are just simple management things. And always, always use a clean pot. Stick that into the sink, into a bucket, whatever. Well, this is Marcel. He's obsessed with LEDs, right? But this is what we talked about earlier. You know, if you are worried about the cost of running your bird room, and a lot of people are, and there's nothing wrong with that, because, you know, these days I'm quite comfortable. Years ago I was skint. When the kids were young, I was broke. And it would have made a big difference if we had LEDs in those days. It costs you a fraction to run these as against tubes or bulbs. Bulbs are very expensive to run. Marcel's obsessed with this. This is Marcel's film. Right, he put it together. My ideas, but his techniques. And that's one of his things that he likes. I don't think they're bright enough myself. But this is a thing that I absolutely do believe in, is extractor fans. Right? It's just so good for the birds. But not only is it good for the birds, it's good for you. Right? Any bird room you go in there and it's all floating about in the air, you're breathing that, and that ain't doing you no good whatsoever. Marcel's got a fridge. Okay, he starts off from scratch. He's got a dishwasher up in the bird room, I think, as well, and he's just put into it, right? But, you know, he started from scratch. I've got a fridge for my birds. I've got two. I've got a small one in the bird room, and I've got one in the garage. We've got a drinks fridge in the garage, which we keep all the beer and wine in. Not that I drink, but you know, we have got these piss pot relatives that keep turning up when I get to drink. So we do have and we keep the Coke and everything out there, and there's other fruit juices for the kids as well. So and on top of that, I've got my own little fridge, which I keep all my medicines in and stuff like that. So a fridge is a very good thing in a bird room. Marcel is very good with these boxes. He makes all sorts of things with these boxes, and they're just wonderful storage units. He's turned these sort of things into vivariums and unbelievable things he does with it. Marcel is not a tradesman. Marcel works for Credit Suisse. He's an IT manager, but he's very, very good with his hands. He lives in a block of flats, and his flat is absolutely beautiful, honestly. Can't imagine what it must cost him every month. He's got a fantastic job anyway. But it's the most beautiful flat. But in the basement, you can rent these storage areas. And he's got two. One he keeps all sorts of crap in. The other one's a workshop with drills and everything. Well, here, you couldn't possibly do that. It wouldn't last 5 minutes without someone breaking into and stealing everything. But the crime in Switzerland is very, very, very low. There's almost no crime in Switzerland. Especially where he lives in the countryside. And in these blocks of flats. You know what I mean? There is no crime.
Apart from the tax evasion.
No, if it's legal, it's legal. Right?
And more guns than America.
Sorry?
Apparently they've got more guns.
Everybody, every man over a certain age in Switzerland has got a machine gun in the loft.
No, it's not. I don't think it's a machine.
Well,
gun.
I can assure you,
they use
with Marcel, it was a bloody great machine gun thing he had. I took my boy over. He's been over there 2 or 3 times with me, and Marcel got the machine gun out in the loft to show him. And well, my boy thought it was the best thing since sliced bread playing this bloody machine gun. And every year they have to go training, and they have to shoot a certain amount of targets. And if you don't make your target score, you've got to go back for retraining and all that. Well, Marcel is a particularly good shot, and he was taking about 4 tests a year for his brother-in-law, his brother-in-law's wife. Right? I mean, now they never sussed it. You know, every other week he's turned up for gun practice. But Switzerland, because it is a country with almost no crime or very little crime, everybody's got a gun, and it is the lowest country in the world for gun crime.
You got to dispatch the birds for something, though, haven't you?
Well, yeah.
So excessive. I'll tell Trump about that.
Yeah.
Something he can use.
I say honestly, it's obviously it's beginning to change Switzerland in the big towns, because you've got a large amount of people coming into the country now from Eastern Europe and things like that. And as we know, with some of the Eastern Europeans here, not all of them, because most of them are actually perfectly legitimate people. The trouble is with the legitimate, you have the minority of others, and that's happening. But that's only in the cities. The countryside is still the same. I mean, I was on a train. Trains in Switzerland are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You know, the train says it's going to leave at 11 minutes past 7, and at 11 minutes past 7, it glides out the station. Not 10 minutes past, not 12 minutes past. I go a lot of times on the train because he lives quite in the country, and it's easier for me just to get the train out of Zurich and to him, and it always leaves on time. Did you see it in the paper this week? One of the trains in Japan, one of the bullet trains,
It's 10 seconds early, wasn't it?
20 seconds early, and they did a national thing in the paper apologising to these people because it left 20 seconds early. They were apologising. Jesus Christ! If British Rail apologise every time the trains were late, they need about 40 papers a day. Once again, and Marcel is Marcel, and he likes these gadgets, and he made up these training cages. I can't see the point of it, but he loves it, and it all slots together with this and bits of. You slide this in and slide that out, but you know, he is what he is. He loves all this sort of stuff. Oh, he adores all it. Right, F10, fantastic. The F10 cream, that is wonderful. If you've got a sore or anything else like that, or something that's festered, the F10 works great. Fred White's wife had an ear infection, and he poured a bit of F10 in her ear, cleared up, no troubles at all. Mine should just chirp a bit now, but yeah, cleared up, no trouble at all. Once again, as I said to you, F10 only works on clean surfaces. You can put this in the water. If you've got 1 or 2 birds with dirty bums or something like that, put that into the water. You use 1 ml per litre. So, I mean, that one on the left-hand side is about 15 quid. So it's not cheap, but you use such small quantities. It's a meal to a litre, for God's sake. If you can't afford that, you might as well give up. And of course, why are we doing all this? No, I've got no sound on this today. No sound. Come on. Try and breed things like that. Just one or two pictures of our birds here somewhere, but I think these were about 3 years ago, so they've come on a bit. So, I mean, they're like little gorillas, our birds today, aren't they? You know, no necks, absolute little gorillas. Marcel now is basically breeding recessive pies. He's got a bit of disillusion in the birds, and he's breeding the parakeets. And so he's just breeding recessive pies now, but he's bred one or two very lovely ones. Recessive pies in Europe are different to here, because at the show in Karlsruhe, you get light green recessive pies, blue recessive pies, dark blue, dark green, and it's about 10 classes for recessive pies, and you get quite big numbers. And we've been very lucky. We've won. It's called a European Gruppensieger. It's the best of the group. It's called a European Gruppensieger, and we've won it twice in 5 years, which is, you know, you think, oh, that's only bloody recessive pies, but you get a lot of people. You know, it's a little bit like in Australia. At the national show, they do everything very similar to us at most of the shows, but at the national show, they only show in colours, right? So if you win best yellow or best dark eye clear, that's the same as winning the light green class, because there are people that are specialising in that colour. So you're competing with your peers around you. So to win, you know, the equivalent of a CC, that's a young hen we bred the year before last, and that one as well. The one, no, that's a grey. As you see, they've improved over the last few years. And that's the one on the left-hand side is one that won the European Gruppensieger. There's 2 pictures of him. That's as good as a normal. And we have quite a few of those like that now. I say that's the same as good as a normal. And that's what you need to breed in Europe now if you want to try and win even a recessive pied colour now.
Are they fussy about the spot, Ron? In Europe,
they should have 4 spots.
Yeah.
They should definitely have 4 spots. But judges are judges. If you've got a bird of that strength and shoulder and cap, you'll forgive it a few spots.
Yeah.
I like a spangle spot normally, don't
Well, it's like spots on spangles. Yeah, they should have spots, but an awful lot of don't. And
I?
that's
Yeah, but I mean, that's like a spangle spot.
yeah, so you're almost certainly right. But it's a lovely bird, bred well as well. I know. There we go. That's us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Fantastic, Ron. Thank you very much.
But there is a tale to tell here.